Okay, let's look at a couple of calculator ways to solve this interest problem. So what we're given here is we're giving that $2,250 is invested. So having said that part, we know that our principal P is equal to $2,250 and compounded semi-annually. This tells us the number of times, which is N, that the interest will be applied, and semi-annually means two. Find the interest rate. Oh, it's telling us to find the next thing, which is R. So we don't know the interest rate. We know the interest rate can be a decimal or a percent. Required to double. Double means twice or two times. So double 2,250 would equal 4,500, and that's going to be our amount that we want um, in 7 years. So that's time. Time equals 7. So the compounded at a certain amount of time formula is A equals P, which is our principal, A is our amount, times the quantity 1 plus R over N raised to the NT. Okay, and so what we want to do is we want to plug in the values that we know, and R should be the only unknown, and then we can solve for R. So A is 4,500 equals P, which is 2,250 times the quantity 1 plus R over N, which is 2, raised to the NT, which is 2 times 7, which we know is 14. So we're going to just use a 14 there. Okay, and we're going to begin by solving this with our Casio. So to solve this with our Casio, we're going to type 4,500 alpha equals 2,250 parentheses 1 plus fraction. Now we can't use R on this calculator. We have to use X when solving equations. So alpha X on the top and 2 on the bottom, close the parentheses, and it's raised to the, and we're using the exponent key, which the exponent key is right here, and the X key is to hit alpha and close parentheses. All right, and we're going to put 14 in here, and then when you do this, you should have like a guess. Now we know that interest rate is as a decimal will be most of the time um, less than 1, okay? Because if it's 1, it's 100%. So when we do our answer choices, we're going to use a decimal to help us with this answer. So let's start with shift calc, and we're going to make a guess of, let's say it's going to be 15% interest, or we know it needs to be pretty high to make it double in 7 years. So I'm going to use point 0.15 as my guess. You could use point 0.5 if you want to, and then hit equals after you make your guess. And let's see what happens. Takes a little time and a thought, and there it is. There is the interest rate. So R equals, 0.102, which as a percent would be 10.2%. Multiply it by 100 to turn it into a percent. Now, if you don't have one of those, and if you have a TI 83 plus or TI 84 plus that does not have the built-in formulas, you can use the equation solving feature of this calculator. The equation solving feature of this calculator is found under Math 0, whereas on the Casio it's on the home screen. So you're going to press second plus 712, and I just did that to reset, clean out anything that might be in there, and press Math 0. And so your equation has 0 equals, so the equal sign is already there. So what I'm going to have to do is move the A to the other side. So I'll type all this, and then I'll put minus A, or minus that value. I'll type all this and then minus that value. And in this calculator, I can actually I can type in the formula and then repeatedly use it to solve for any of the unknowns. So let's try that first. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to type P and alpha. P is the number 8 key, parentheses, and your alphabets will be in green, so you have to hit alpha first. 1 plus uh, alpha R divided by alpha N, close the parentheses, use the carry up key, which makes an exponent that looks like this, and then put your exponent in parentheses. So that would be alpha NT, and then close the parentheses, and then put minus alpha A. Press enter, and so then there's a list for you to put all the values in. So we know that the principal is 2,250. The interest rate we don't know, so that's our unknown. N we know it's 2. T we know it's 7, and A is 4,500. So after you put in all the values, you move back up to the one that you don't know, our unknown, and you can put a guess in. Um, I think 0 is fine because it's not, R is not in a denominator. If R was in a denominator, you would have to change it to something other than 0. So we can leave it as 0, or keeping in mind that it has to be something between 0 and 1. And so I'm going to leave it 0 and press alpha, enter. And if you notice that alpha, when you press that, it lights up that green solve. And you see we get the same answer right here. So we get R is equal to 0.102, which is our 10.2%. So either calculator can help you solve the problem. And if you use this format when you arrow back up, please make sure that you don't arrow up without something being here, because the calculator won't allow you to move. Like if I delete this out, if I clear this and I try to move up, it won't let me move. So there has to be a number there in order for you to move up away from that and try a new problem. Um, and that's how you solve it, using your two different types of calculators.